IELTS Listening, version 30579. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. Things will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1 on page 2 of your question booklet. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a musician and a man working in a music agency. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5 on page 2. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, Music Alive. How can I help you?
Hi, I've just moved to the area and I saw your advert. I wanted to find out about your services.
Sure. What would you like to know?
Well, I've got a number of questions if that's okay. Have you got a few minutes?
Of course.
Can I make a note of your name?
Yes, I'm Jim Granley.
The man's name is Jim Granley, so Granley has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello, Music Alive. How can I help you?
Hi, I've just moved to the area and I saw your advert. I wanted to find out about your services.
Sure. What would you like to know?
Well, I've got a number of questions if that's okay. Have you got a few minutes?
Of course.
Can I make a note of your name?
Yes, I'm Jim Granley.
Thanks. And do you represent every type of musician? Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, we're basically a networking agency for musicians, but we don't actually find you work. We have all our members on our database, the type of music they play, and also we can put people in touch if they want to form a band, for example.
Is there a lot of live music here?
Yes, and venues contact us when they need musicians, etc. We deal with modern music, especially rock, which is what most people seem to enjoy around here. But we do also represent some jazz musicians. We don't accept classical music, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine.
What do you play?
Guitar and violin, and a bit of flute. As I'm new here, I thought you could help me get in touch.
Sure. We actually have a newsletter I could send you that would give you a good idea of what we do and how you can benefit from joining. The latest one came out this week. Would you like me to send you a copy?
That would be great. Is it weekly?
No, every month. Weekly would be too much work, I think.
Right. And what are the costs for joining and becoming a member? Is it expensive? I'm on a tight budget.
You and every other musician in the region. No, we do everything to keep costs down because we know what it's like. We're pretty much all musicians ourselves too. So to join is just £35, and that's a one-off payment. Oh, actually, that's the discounted rate for young musicians under 18s. The standard rate is £45.
Unfortunately, I'm over 18. And how about joining? Can I join when I want? Now, for example? Or do you limit on numbers?
No, you can join any time. We don't have a limit on the numbers of members we can have. The more the merrier, in fact. Our membership's gone up recently from 700 to 750.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, time to look at questions 6 to 10 on page 2. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
That's good. And your ad says you also have facilities there that musicians can use. Can you explain a bit about that?
Sure. Well, it's not huge, but we do have a couple of rooms where you can rehearse. They're soundproof. And we've just opened a studio, a small one. And it's already proving popular with bands that want to send demo tapes to venues and record labels.
Wow, that sounds brilliant. And is that free? Guess not.
No, that's extra. But we do have some free services. For example, we can offer legal advice if you need it, for contracts and things like that. Pretty useful stuff, you know.
Great. So if I'm interested, what's the next step? How do I become a member?
Well, simple really. Just send us a letter with your contact details and a recording made within the last couple of months. That'll give other members an idea of what you play.
And where are you based?
We're at 707 Kippax Street, Marbury.
How do you spell Kippax?
It's Kippax.
And is there an email address?
Yes, it's music.talent@bsu.co.uk.
Talent as in the word?
Yes.
Right. Just one last thing.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2 on page 3.
You will hear a presenter interviewing a student on a radio show. The student is talking about her experiences of mountain climbing. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 14.
Welcome back to BURS, your independent student union radio station. We're looking at some of the incredible feats one or two of you have been up to during your summer break. I'm with Catherine, who's going to tell us about her successful climb of one of the most iconic mountains in the world, Mont Blanc. Catherine, tell us a little about your achievement.
Well, actually, it was the second time I've reached the summit. The first was in 2007, the year before I came to university. People are often surprised to hear how popular the mountain is with climbers. I've read somewhere over 30,000 people attempt the climb each year, and around 200 people a day summit during the summer season, so it's very crowded up there. Unfortunately, it's also potentially very dangerous. In July 2007, the month before I did my first climb, the death toll reached 30, mainly due to bad weather conditions. The sheer number of people can cause falling rocks, which only adds to the danger.
Before you hear more of the interview, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
So why did you do the same climb twice? And was it easier the second time around?
In many ways, they were totally different experiences. The first time I went as part of an organised group. There were about 20 of us, and we took 4 days to summit. It was much more of a sociable experience compared to the second climb. This year, I decided to go solo with just one overnight stop. I felt more confident having already summited once, and I wanted to face the challenge of being in control. Actually, you're never really alone. There are other climbers and groups around all the time, but I suppose being alone made me feel more intrepid. The first climb was quite difficult as the weather was very changeable, and we found ourselves climbing in very cold, windy conditions. We were in a group, so we offered each other encouragement, but it was still very difficult. The weather this time was wonderful. Plus, I also spent a few days beforehand in Chamonix and acclimatised myself more to the altitude. This certainly made it easier. You can achieve the same thing by climbing some of the smaller peaks in the area first, but I wanted a more leisurely start. It was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did your experiences on the first climb help you the second time around? I'm wondering if you have any useful advice for others planning on doing something similar.
Well, because the climb's becoming so popular, I think people don't always give it the respect it deserves. And I'm not talking here about the physical condition you need to be in to take on a challenge like this, or having the right equipment. That goes without saying. I think what took me by surprise more than anything else was the extreme weather conditions, even in the summer. For those who want to summit in a single day or two, the climb will often start early in the morning, so you'll need to make sure you're wearing enough layers to protect yourself from the cold and wind. You'll be glad of this when you hit queues and find yourself standing around, waiting to move on. Then at the other extreme, around midday, you must make sure you're fully protected from the sun, or you're likely to get very badly burnt. Whether you climb alone, in a group, or with a guide, that will depend on your own experience. But however you decide to go, it's essential that you take your time and get used to the altitude.
OK, many thanks for taking the time to come in and tell us all about it.
Section 3. You will hear a conversation between 3 people about use of university computers. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 27. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 27.
Hello there, do you work in the computer room?
Yes, I do. Can I help you?
Well, I'm a first year and I know that I'll need to use the computer room for my work, as I don't have a computer of my own. So I thought I'd get down here and see what I have to do in order to get time on one of the university's computers.
Okay, there are 4 computer labs open to undergraduates. The others can only be used by the staff and postgraduates. The names of the 4 labs you can use are Wimborne, Franklin, Salisbury and Court. Wimborne and Court are in this building, the Johnson building. Franklin is in the Computer Sciences building and Salisbury is in the library.
So I can use them whenever I like?
Well, you can use them, but not whenever you like. As you can imagine, they're in quite a lot of demand, so you have to reserve your time on a computer. In each of the labs, there is a reservation book, and you can reserve your time on a computer in that for 2 hours daily. If a computer is free, though, you can go on it straight away. It's quite straightforward, but be sure to always write your name in the reservation book in pen, or someone can rub it out and put their name in instead.
Oh my God, does that really happen?
I'm afraid so, and far more often than you would think. When people are stressed about their assignments, they'll do anything to get some time on the computers. Better not try it yourself, though, or you'll be banned from the computers for the rest of the academic year, and your password and username will be taken away.
That reminds me, I've got to get a username and password. How do I go about that then?
Well, what I'll do is to pass you over to my colleague Jane, as she's in charge of all that. Jane?
Yes, Dave?
I've got a new student here wanting to find out about usernames and passwords. Can you help him out with that?
Yeah, sure. Hi there.
Hi.
Well, it's a straightforward process. First of all, tell me your name and I'll type it into the system.
James Smith.
Right, let me do that. You see, all students are automatically given a username and then they just choose a password themselves. Okay, so your username is James Smith 2. That's all small case. That means there must be more than one of you at the university at the moment. Well, what do you want your password to be?
I think I'll choose biology, as that's the subject that I'm studying, though my girlfriend Mary will be upset that it's not her name I'm using.
Well, that's all done. You can now use any of the 4 undergraduate computer labs.
By the way, can I print out stuff at the labs?
Yes, you can, but sometimes it's not quick. When you print, it goes into a queue and it'll be left in a tray in Franklin, as that's where all the main printers are. The good bit is that, although last year it cost 3p per page, now it doesn't cost you anything.
You now have some time to look at questions 28 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the conversation and answer questions 28 to 30.
I don't really know much about computing. Is there any training available?
Yes, we have introductory courses for all new students. There is beginner, intermediate and advanced. Which would you like to go for?
Well, I have done some, but I don't know if I'm up to anything more than beginner. I'd better stick with that. Intermediate could be too tough.
Well, your course is in Franklin then. We're in Court now. You know where that is.
That's in this building too, isn't it?
No, that's Wimborne you're thinking about. Franklin's over in the Computer Sciences building. Anything else?
I don't know what time the course starts.
Let's have a look then. Advanced starts at 4:30 in the afternoon on Mondays, but yours is the day after at 5 in the afternoon.
Are there any other times, as I've got a part-time job then?
Yes, you could try Thursday at 2 p.m. How's that?
Even worse, as I've a tutorial then. Anything else?
No, that's it.
I'll have to rearrange work then. I can't miss the tutorial.
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4.
Part 4. You will hear part of a lecture about a type of water pump called a treadle pump. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40 on page 6. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon. Today I'm going to talk about an innovative water management solution that has revolutionized small-scale farming in India, the treadle pump. This simple yet effective device has not only enhanced the livelihoods of countless farmers, but also promoted sustainability in agricultural practices. The treadle pump was designed with the specific needs of Indian smallholders in mind. Traditionally, these farmers relied heavily on seasonal rainfall to irrigate their crops, limiting them to cultivating just one crop per year. During the dry season, many families were forced to migrate to urban areas in search of temporary employment to sustain their income. The introduction of the treadle pump provided a much-needed alternative, enabling farmers to efficiently irrigate their fields and reduce the necessity for seasonal migration. The concept of the treadle pump is akin to that of an exercise bicycle. However, instead of wheels, it features two treadles, usually made of bamboo, on which the user stands and pedals. This action powers two metal pump cylinders, which are connected to a water source, such as a pond or well, by a plastic tube. As the user pedals, water is drawn up and directed into the fields or irrigation canals. This system is particularly advantageous during cooler parts of the day, making the task less strenuous for the user. Initially designed for use in the rural areas of eastern India, the treadle pump has undergone several adaptations since its inception in 2006. New versions have been developed to cater to different environmental conditions, including coastal regions where the presence of saline water and sand can cause blockages. To address this issue, the design was improved by adding a filter made of bamboo, effectively preventing solid materials from clogging the system. The benefits of the treadle pump extend across various domains. Economically, the treadle pump has been a game-changer for many farmers. It has been estimated that the income of the average household using a treadle pump more than doubles. This significant increase in earnings is a testament to the pump's effectiveness in enhancing agricultural productivity. From a health perspective, the availability of a reliable irrigation system has enabled farmers to diversify their crops, leading to a more varied and nutritious diet. This improvement in dietary intake has far-reaching implications for the overall well-being of farming communities. Environmentally, the treadle pump offers several advantages. By substituting traditional diesel-powered pumps, it reduces reliance on fossil fuels and, consequently, the emission of greenhouse gases. This eco-friendly approach to irrigation aligns with global efforts to combat climate change and promote sustainable agriculture. In terms of sustainability, the treadle pump stands out for its simplicity and ease of use. It can be manufactured from locally available materials, making it accessible to farmers in even the most remote regions. The installation process is straightforward, and the pump requires minimal maintenance. Local mechanics can be trained in just 2 days to provide the necessary support for the upkeep of the pumps, ensuring that every farming community has access to technical assistance. The treadle pump's success has also been evident in the commercial market. One of the best-selling products in the company's portfolio is toys that incorporate the pump's technology. These toys, designed to resemble animals, have become incredibly popular among children, providing a fun and interactive way for them to engage with technology. To foster innovation and attract talent, the company organises annual robotics design competitions. These events provide a platform for participants to showcase their skills in robotics design and contribute to the field of technological invention. The initiative not only promotes creativity, but also offers opportunities for individuals to make a meaningful impact in the realm of technology. In conclusion, the treadle pump represents a remarkable example of how appropriate technology can address the specific needs of small-scale farmers, enhancing their resilience and sustainability. As we continue to explore innovative solutions in agriculture, the treadle pump stands as a testament to the power of simple, effective design in transforming lives and landscapes. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to our next session, where we will delve further into sustainable agricultural practices and explore other technological innovations that are shaping the future of farming. That's the end of today's lecture. Please remember that attendance is mandatory, and I look forward to seeing you in our next session.
That's the end of Part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.